welcome. It's Halloween weekend. I hope you guys have great plans for Sunday night or Saturday when you're going to celebrate Halloween. If you live in the Edmond area, I just found this out the other day, trick-or-treating will be Saturday night, but that's a different discussion. Today, we're going to talk about the 5 scariest things we have seen business owners do. So what do you think about that, Phil? Is that a good idea or a bad idea?
What's that?
The 5 scariest things business owners do.
Yeah. So we need to talk about them.
So I'm gonna. These are personality traits as well. I'm gonna pick my first one as my favorite one because I see it all the time. It's the narcissist business owner that doesn't listen to anybody. They're always right. They're always playing their
What'd you
angle.
say?
The narcissist business owner. Dude, if you were this person, God bless you. You will probably make some money along the way, but whoa, Nelly.
Yeah, I mean, you probably make some money along the way for a period of time. And then, that cool thing catches up with you and it doesn't work. All entrepreneurs figure out at some point in their life, most entrepreneurs start out thinking that they can do everything. And then they quickly learn they got to have really great people to accomplish what they want to do. And, people that adjust to that and figure out that it's not all about them and it's about the team and it's about having great people that you give great opportunities to, and they go out and they are empowered and they do these cool things. That's great. But narcissism tends to end in a bad way. Well,
you're going to burn a lot of bridges. You're going to hurt your employees. The reality, and all of us need to remember this. Every day we need to do a mirror check. Am I being humble today? Am I showing grace and faith to people? Am I giving them the benefit of the doubt? Are we looking at the world as if it's mostly good and not mostly bad? Because I'll be honest with you, if you get on this thing and read any social media, you're going to be in a bad mood in about 5 minutes.
Yep.
What I would tell you is enter every discussion that most people are good-hearted people wanting to do the right thing and encourage them to be that way. You reap what you sow, as they say. So if you reap that, you sow it. I work with a business owner out of Enid that is probably the nicest, kindest, most thoughtful person that I know, and he's hugely successful because of it. And everybody loves him. Everybody knows about his product. I mean, it pays huge dividends.
He's just a good man.
He is.
But that's what happens when you put yourself behind others.
Yep.
It's a cool thing. I think too, one of the things you got to remember when you're, it's one thing to say, hey, you need to do this. But one thing I would encourage everybody to do, and you can get with Dave and I, we can help point you in the right direction, but do assessments on your folks. Do assessments with your employees so you understand how they receive information, how do they process information, how do they communicate, right? I mean, it's your responsibility as a leader of your organization to make sure that you give your employees the best opportunity possible to be successful in the things you ask them to do. And so invest a small amount, do an assessment. It'll help teach you and your leadership team how best to communicate with your employees. And it'll teach your employees how they receive and they'll become better communicators along the way. So invest a small amount to get a whole lot out of that, because you've got to be able to communicate in a way that people receive it. Everybody, I was the guy that you can scream at me, you can yell, you can dead dog cuss me, and I'll probably scream, yell, and dead dog cuss you back, but I'm going to get what you're saying. I don't shut down when people approach me that way. Most people shut down.
Yep.
And it's not good. It's not healthy. It's not helpful. None of that stuff. None of that stuff's good. So we want to make sure that you're doing the things that you need to do so that you can give your people an opportunity to be successful.
That's a great comment, Phil, because people communicate differently every day.
They do.
The next one that I want to talk about is this one. It's the burning dollars to save pennies business owner, right? They don't know where their money is going, but they think they're successful or not. The business owner that does not know his numbers is going to struggle because cash flow is a real thing. It is a real problem, and it will bite you in the backside.
Well, we deal with, Dave and I have a saying here. If everything was great, we wouldn't have any clients, right? I mean, so we get to see the warts. We get to see the wounds, all the stuff that's creating problems. And that's great because we're able to help people through those. But I think that probably number one thing is that people don't understand the concept of dealing with what's going to kill you first right? You've got it. There might be 8 things on your list that could cause you harm, but you got to start with the most critical thing, and you got to work through that, and you got to deal with it, come up with solutions, initiate processes, do all the things you need to do to correct it, and then you go to the next thing that's most likely to kill you, and then the next thing, and then the next thing. So having the ability to understand your numbers is imperative, because that's going to give you the roadmap to follow on what's likely to kill you.
Yeah.
We get hung up on the feelings of things. We're all human, so we all have, well, all of us but Dave, we all have feelings, but we've got to, sorry, Dave, but you got
getting a puppy.
Well, you are getting a puppy, but that's a whole nother story.
Well, I'm not getting a puppy.
No, you're getting a puppy. So, but the Memphis arriving soon.
Memphis is arriving.
He'll be here within 24 hours.
Yeah, he will.
So, but anyway, we've all got those feelings, and it is these are emotional things, but you got to find a way to try to check the emotion as much as you can and focus on the reality of what you're dealing with. And when you do that, you'll be a much happier, healthier human being and a more effective business owner and leader.
Truth.
Thanks.
I want to close this out. We're talking about finances. I want to just close this out. If you are a business owner and you do not have a growth model forecast and you don't know what your numbers are and how to figure out what it's going to be tomorrow, you need to find a person that can help you figure that out, because the quickest way to go out of business is not have money.
Wah, wah, wah.
If you don't sell stuff, you aren't a business.
Well, even if you sell stuff,
fair.
If you don't run it correctly, if you don't manage it correctly, once you sell it, all that money's going to disappear. You can have a great top line number. Top line doesn't get deposited, kids, right? I mean, it doesn't matter what your top. You could have $1 billion in sales, and if you don't operate your business correctly and efficiently and effectively, and if you're not doing all the things you're supposed to be doing, then your bottom line number can have a little negative next to it, and now you're out of business. So understand, you got to have sales. To Dave's point, you got to go have sales. But you got to have a bottom line number that pays the bills and allows you to grow as a business.
All right, here's a scary business owner for you. Feel you ready?
Yeah.
We hear it a lot. The my business is different business owner.
It's all different.
Everybody's different. I'm gonna share something with you that a fighter pilot is a fighter pilot because they follow a very specific process and they're very good at it, and they make them the same way every time. Walmart builds thousands of Walmarts because they have a process and they follow it the same way every time. McDonald's is a huge multi-billion-dollar franchise because they follow a system that they have developed and they build every time. If you are a business owner and you think your business is different and you don't have to do that, you are not going to be McDonald's, you are not going to be Walmart, and you are never going to be a fighter pilot.
You're not going to be happy. If you are a fighter pilot, you're going to be a dead fighter pilot.
That's a fact.
But I think a good example of that process is David and I are out going to see a client last week, and we're driving down the road. And my idea of tech, I like to have all the technology in the world. True?
Absolutely, yeah.
I just don't know how to use any of it.
That is absolutely true, too.
But I got all of it. So Dave is forever. I'm going, Dave. Dave comes over. Usually just clicks a button, and I'm like, oh, okay. And I go down the road. We're driving to this client last week, and the radio or something came on.
The radio, your phone.
And I got my phone, and I'm trying to hit all this. I got in my vehicle, I got all these fancy, it looks like a freaking computer screen at NORAD in my vehicle. I'm trying to hit buttons to figure out what to do, and Dave just reaches over and goes, poop, and just turns the radio off with the little manual button. I said, well, that'll work too. So, keep things simple is my point, right? You got to keep things simple when you're doing these things. All the things we're talking about, they're really not complicated. It's just some are hard to do. Some are hard to execute as a human being, but they're not complicated. So we instinctively typically know what we need to do. It's a matter of doing it.
That's a fact.
Yep.
That's a fact.
Yep.
Okay, the fourth business owner is my hair is on fire all the time business owner. Phil doesn't have that problem. And so what do I mean about that? I mean, everything is the end of the world.
Yeah.
Right. And what I'm gonna say, and this, don't take this as insensitive because it's not. If the world around you is burning down, you have to take a deep breath and stop. Because if you don't, you will make a bad decision. You'll make a wrong choice. It will impact your people and your business. Bad things are going to happen. It's life.
Yeah.
And I don't always do this, so I'm not some kind of superhero. I'm not telling you something that I don't struggle with, because I do. But you've got to be able to take a pause, step away, and look at what the real problem is. Because something that seems horrible right now, as General Powell said last week in his quotes, is not as bad after a few minutes, and it's easier to solve problems. So if your hair is always on fire and you're always panicking, take a deep breath and pause.
And it's hard not to get caught up in the emotion of things, as Dave said. I mean, there's something, it's very personal. This is your business. Yes. This is what you do to feed your family. This is what you do to build a legacy. These are all very important things that matter. And so nobody's, we don't live in a rose colored, in a little glass house over here. I mean, we get it. And everybody struggles with that at times. The key is not to stay there very long. Bring yourself out of it, get back on track, start following the processes, start following everything you've implemented in your business that's going to be your tool bag, if you will, when those moments happen. You get a letter from the IRS saying you're going to be audited as a business. That's not a fun letter to get. But if you're not a crook, it's also not the end of the world. The only reason you should be freaking out is if you've done something illegal. Fair? Because everything else can be managed. Everything else can be handled, right? If you have your top salesperson come give you a 2-week notice because they're going to work for your biggest competitor, it's not the end of the world. Usually what we see when those kind of things happen, companies get more focused and they become better. Now, it doesn't mean it's without pain, because there's obviously pain if you lose your top salesperson.
Yep.
Right? Your COO who's been with you since you started, you can't imagine business without them. You can't imagine being in business without them so much that you forgot that they're retirement age. So they come and sit down and have the conversation with you. Hey, me and the missus, we're gonna retire. Me and my husband, we're gonna retire in 6 months. Just letting you know. Or next year we're gonna hang it up. Usually in that conversation, what we see, people deny that the conversation ever happened. And they act like it's just really not true. And then unfortunately, then they get realization, oh, wait, these people really are going to retire. I'm not going to have them, and I'm going to have to do something about it. I mean, so dealing with things appropriately, timely, in a way that where your hair is not on fire, to where you're not barking at everybody and bringing the attitudes down all throughout your business. You got to be calm. I had a guy tell me a long time ago, when stuff gets crappy, slow down the way you talk slower. A few little tips, right? If you talk slow, if you slow down the way you're thinking and talking, you will calm down. And calming down is the only way you're going to operate at 100% effectiveness.
It's a fact.
You never operate at 100% effectiveness when you're freaking out. You just don't. So you don't think clear.
So your tip with Phil's comment that I've used for years, do it slower to do it faster.
Yeah.
Take a deep breath, get through the situation. It will be okay.
Be okay.
Now, our last scary business owner is the business owner that is an Americant or has people in his, or is it our Americant or whatever they want to call them. And they always are telling them how they can't reach the next goal.
That won't work.
I'm going to tell you right now, if you have crazy beliefs, I'm going to say crazy faith, you can do anything. The question is, what are you willing to do the work to get to that crazy dream, right? So what I would argue, what I would tell you, not even argue, tell you this: if you have a hairy, audacious, huge goal for your company,
and you should,
if you don't, then don't be in business because you're not passionate about it. You don't want to do that. The question you need to ask yourself is, what's it going to cost effort-wise and money-wise for me to get there? And am I willing, is my team and I willing to put in the effort to get there? Don't ever have people tell you how you can't. Have them tell you how you can and what it's going to cost. If you just change that philosophy in your business, it will change everything you do. Do you think Elon Musk listens to I can't? I can guarantee you he does. He fires people they say they can't.
He thrives on
people telling he can't. That's his
Official,
mojo.
That's why officially yesterday he became the world's first trillionaire. The valuation in Tesla was over $1 trillion. $1 trillion with a T, not with a B, with a T.
That's a lot of cookies.
That's a lot of bacon.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I think what I'd tell you too is on that is, there's a lot of great books you can go read out there. There's a lot of, go listen to some great podcasts, all that good stuff. Goodness gracious, Jed gave us a giggle this morning. The thing, the thing I want to tell you is that if you think you can, you can. If you think you can't, you can't. It is that simple. The most powerful thing in the world is a person that has personal belief and they have a passion about what they're doing. They can move mountains. I've seen countless people in a 30-year business career that had all the talent in the world, were so talented it was ridiculous, could do anything. They had this electric personality. They were intelligent. They were thinkers and doers, and they just had all this stuff going for you, but they were fragile. They were soft as a pound of flour, as I like to say, right? If you're mentally so soft that the first time somebody tells you an idea you have is crazy or stupid or it won't work or whatever words they choose to use, first thing you got to do is get those people away from you. But you got to be tough enough to understand it and have enough belief that what you're saying and what you believe is possible. You got to go do the damn work. The biggest problem is people, there's opportunity everywhere in this country. Opportunity everywhere in this country, right? Bottom line is, I've never, Jennifer, I don't care what kind of flour it is, it's soft. So there is not a person out there that doesn't have something they can go do that would create a legacy for them in their life. The problem is too many people are choosing the legacy of being quitters, of not being tough enough, of not being passionate enough, of not being committed enough, of not caring enough. That's the legacy people are choosing. Instead of choosing legacies that enhance people's lives, enhance their own lives, they're listening to all the BS that's out there. If you want to do something great, you're not going to be doing the same things everybody else are doing, because nothing great was ever found with the crowd. If everybody else is already doing it, it's probably not great.
Nope.
Right? So you have a vision, you think that's cool, you think it's crazy, you think, man, is this possible? The answer is, yeah, it's possible. To Dave's point, what price are you willing to pay? We've said it a million times, there's no free lunches in the world.
Yeah, I think it's interesting, and I'm going to use sports because most people can relate to that in the work ethic. I hear 5-year-old dads at football practice talking about how their kid's going to be a professional athlete when they're 5 years old.
When really you don't know that till they're 9 or 10.
Yeah. Well, and then you have parents fighting when they're 9 or 10 at the ballpark in fist fights because their kid is the next real thing, right? And then you get into high school and you have parents pushing. That's funny. Jason's a good dude.
You know Jason?
Very well. Great guy.
I've known Jason for 20 years.
That's crazy. Small world.
Jason, call one of us.
Hi, Jason.
Call one of us. We'll go have lunch. Jason Baffrey, one of the true good guys in the world.
Yeah, he is a great guy and a big motorcycle guy.
Oh, yeah. Well, big motor, just
motorsports.
Sports.
That's a true thing.
Yeah. He's got great hair.
He has better hair than me.
He has the greatest
hair. Has great hair.
Has the greatest hair in the history of the world. I mean, it's not this, but I mean,
So back up. So the point is the difference between Pee-wee sports and high school sports and college sports and professional sports, it's a vast difference.
Yeah.
And the reality of it is most of the people that don't make it to the pros, do not have the God-given talent. Okay.
It's kind of important.
But if they have the God-given, there's a lot of God-given talent people out there because they aren't willing to put in the work. They talk about how cool they are and how much, but the amount of work required to move from here to here is insane. What we're telling you right now, when we talk about being an American, is you need to understand the level of work it's going to take to get to your goal. And use the analogy of Pee-wee to professional sports. If you want to be a professional sports athlete and have that kind of living and make that impact on people, good or bad, then you're going to put a ton of work, more work than you can even imagine right now. I will tell you, I'm going to be brutally honest. When I was in high school, My goal was to play college football. I did not realize the amount of work it was going to take. And my junior year, my mom and one of her friends put me in a gym with college athletes. And it was life-changing because instead of working out 3 days a week and running 2 days a week, I was working out 6 hours a day, 7 days a week, eating 12,000 calories of food a day. And it was a system. You need to understand what you're asking for when you ask for it.
Yeah, and I think too, it might be a career. Yeah. I remember when I decided to walk the path that I chose to walk in the military. I had some self-doubt, but my desire to be part of something that was special within the United States military was stronger than anything else. And so I pushed through it. Dave, I'm pretty sure when he was growing up in Memphis, Tennessee, he may have thought about being a pilot someday at some point, but you don't really realize what all goes into that. You may sit around, you're an employee of a business, you're 5 years into working there, and you go, I can do this better than the way we're doing it now. I'm going to go start my own thing. You don't realize the amount of work that's going to go into that. All right. Now, that doesn't mean you shouldn't do that. We're telling you should do that. But you need to understand at what cost and what's the price you're going to pay to do those things. The last thing I'd tell you as proof, most people have Netflix now. Go to Netflix and pull up the documentary on junior college football called Last Chance U.
That's good. Yeah.
If you want to see a bunch of really super talented young men, many of which never realized their potential for a variety of reasons. Most of it was attitude. And you'll see him. There's one young man on there that was in the second season of at Mississippi, which was the first one. If you go to the first segment, probably the most talented guy I've ever seen on film. What he could do athletically, how fast he was. He has a legacy now. He was arrested 2 years after the show for murder. Okay. Now, he was released then, but the point is he put himself in a situation. It was proven that he didn't do it. Okay. But he was with people that did do it. All right. I don't know about y'all, but my mom and dad told me you are who you hang out with. That's who you are. If you're hanging out with knuckleheads, you're going to be a knucklehead. If you're hanging out with naysayers, you're going to be a naysayer. If you're hanging out with positive people, chances are you're going to be positive. I mean, so it's simple little things that you need to do to give yourself an opportunity to have greatness in your life. I mean, it's not complicated. Nope. It's hard to execute because it requires discipline. A good thing, a good thing that I have always kind of tried to hold on to is that if you, the Wilson boys, there you go. The good thing that you really got to hold on to is this. I think this is a good thing to remember. Motivation will not make you go get in physical shape. Discipline will, right? You can be motivated to do something that's going to last a very short while. And the first time something hard comes along, if you don't have the discipline, you're not going to do it. Motivation will work short term if you need to hit a sales goal. You'll be motivated for a few weeks. You'll go out. First time something doesn't go your way, if you don't have the discipline, it's not going to work. So understand the difference between motivation and discipline. I mean, there's a huge difference between the two. You've got to have the discipline to do the work.
It's a fact. And with that, you've got to be able to balance everything in your life. As we close this out today, we talked about the 5 characteristics that are scary for business owners today. But remember, life is about balance. Life is about setting and reaching goals. Life is about prioritizing what's important. And life is about self-checks, right? Because every one of us, Phil and I both, we have all been to bad places in our lives where we've exhibited one or all of these traits as a human being. And it did not end up the way we would have liked in every case. So I know a lot of people do this, but one of the things I do every morning when I shave, I look in the mirror and see if I respect the man that's looking back at me. And I would challenge you every morning when you get up and wash your face or brush, you look in the mirror and go, do I still respect this person? Are they living the life that they should be living? Are they doing the things they should be doing? Are they building the things that are great in this world and making it better? And if not, make an adjustment, right? It's never too late to change.
And I think that's the whole thing. I could write 1,000 books on all the crap I've screwed up in my life. The bad decisions I've made, the people I've not treated correctly, the things that I in my personal life that I'm not proud of to this day. We all have them. We all have them. If you're alive and breathing, there are things that you wish you could have done differently. Anybody that says they have no regrets, go back to what we started the show with, the narcissist. Okay? There's no way you can live a life and not have a regret along the way. Okay? So don't give up if you've screwed up. Don't give up if you're not the person that you want to be today. Change it. Change it. I mean, there are things that we've all dealt with. Dave's dealt with a lot of things. I've dealt with things. We all have our story. Every one of us have a story. And it's our story, and most of them are painful. But luckily, most of them are mixed in with a lot of good things, too, and a lot of greatness, right? And that's important. You know, you can choose to be angry in life, and you can choose to be happy in life. I've had business deals that didn't go the way I wanted them to go. Not because of anything I did, but because, actually, usually it was like I made a bad hire, or I didn't speak up, or I allowed things to get so far down the road there was no coming back, you know. But I've also made great decisions in business to where I got everything right on those hiring decisions, and things did work out. The key is I didn't give up the first time I had some adversity. I mean, you just can't give up. And you got Dave's advice about looking at that person in the mirror is so powerful. We all know what we need to be doing. Personally, professionally, spiritually, if you're a spiritual person, we all know the things we need to be doing. The key is you got to get up and you got to go do it. You know, knowing what to do is not the hard part. The hard part is execution. If you don't execute on it, it doesn't make a hill of beans. I got a text last night, and we'll wrap on this, Dave. I know we were going a long night, but I got a text last evening, and I'm just going to read it to you. And I'm going to take the names out to protect the innocent.
Thanks, Phil. I appreciate that.
This one wasn't from Dave. So one of the things I do as a hobby is we do radio broadcasts for sporting events. And I have a dear friend. He's like a brother to me. He's one of my closest friends in the world. I love him to death. That has these businesses. And this guy single-handedly covers news, sports, everything for all of the county we live in. And he's a one-man show. People talk to him or talk about him like he's got a staff of 100, all the stuff they want him to do. But he somehow manages to get 99.9999% of it done every day. It's amazing. Okay. One of the things that he many years ago was so kind to do was include me into that life, into that process when our son died, you know. And he came to me and said, hey, I want you to come join the radio show. I want you to do this. I want you to do that. And he was kind, and he allowed me to continue to do different things inside his organization. Well, one of those things we do is we call Friday night football games. And over the years, my friend has done a great job of building his business. He touches thousands of people on every broadcast. He gets asked, and because of him, we're allowed to call all the state championship games and be a part of the production team for all the state championship games in the state of Oklahoma in football. He also does basketball, does wrestling, does volleyball, does swimming. For God's sakes, this weekend he's doing the state cross-country meets. I mean, the guy's a pro, okay? I don't care what you say to me, but I'm pretty protective of him. Not because he needs me to be. He's a grown man. He can take care of himself. But I care about him. As Dave will tell you and attest to, I'm a pretty protective guy, right? To a fault sometimes. But at the end of the day, I get this last week in the ball game we were doing, somebody wasn't happy about a coaching decision, and they start going after us on our YouTube feed because we're not talking about it. And I'm going, we're going to talk about a bunch of high school kids as junk? Well, why would you do that? All you gotta do is hurt the kids. My point is people don't stop and think sometimes. Okay. So I get a text last night from the brother of the guy who posted stuff. He said, "Hey, Phil, he said, man, I apologize to my brother on his post on the broadcast. Embarrassing. You guys do a good job." So that one simple text cleared the slate for me. And my point is be the person that sometimes don't criticize people. Go out and say, "Hey, man, we appreciate what you're doing." It doesn't have to be big things. It can be little things. "I appreciate you. Man, I saw what you did over there. That was great. That's awesome. Thanks for doing that." Dave knows this. I'm a sucker for a guy that's got a sign at a stop sign that says need money for food or need money for that. And I've always told Dave, I'd rather slide him a 20 and get hustled than have it be a guy that really needs help that I don't help. I'd rather get hustled 100 times and have one time it matter. Be the person that's helping somebody. Be that person. Don't be the person that thinks they got it all figured out, because nobody does. Don't be the person that thinks they got all the answers, because nobody does. Don't be the person that thinks they're perfect, because nobody is. Help somebody. All right, I'm getting on my soapbox. Whew. Man, I'm tired. I need a Red Bull.
This was a happy Halloween episode. We're going to talk about scary things in business. Hopefully you learned something. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you need anything, reach out. We're here always, and we'd love to help. You can.
And remember, don't be cheap. Halloween, give out the full-size candy bars. Don't be cheap.
And have candy at your house for kids. Come on.
Give out the full-size candy bars.
Just open your door. Don't be that guy that turns their light, that gal that turns their light off and let the kids come by. It's just for kids.
That's right.
Anyway, we'll be out. I'll be dressed up for Halloween after the OU game on Saturday. We'll be there. So if you're in my part of the woods, come on by. My wife bought a bunch of candy yesterday, so we're excited.
Come to our house. We give out the big candy bars.
With that, Phil and Dave, we are out of here.